Hello and welcome back to Tits, Tums and All Things Mum. I'm here again with the lovely Hannah from Sleep Well with Hannah. How many times is this now? Like 4 or 5?
Fourth, I think. Yeah.
I think you're such an important guest to have on though, because sleep is probably the most emotive topic in parenthood. So to keep having you come back in and give everybody these tips is amazing, because they can sort of take it away without having to actually buy your services, although they should. Because I definitely think it's 100% worth it if it means you're getting a good night's sleep.
Thank you for having me back. No, it's always really nice just to reach a wider audience. And that is mainly my aim, is to help as many families as possible and to let them know that there is a kind and gentle solution for their baby's sleep.
And that's the thing really, isn't it? I think so many people out there think that if you sleep train your child, you're leaving them to just scream and cry while you're also screaming and crying in another room, because that's what's kind of put out there, isn't it? But actually there are kinder ways to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of the time when parents think of sleep training, they think cry out. Like those two things go hand in hand, unfortunately. And I think that most of the time, the reason why a lot of sleep trainers advise controlled crying is because it's easy to teach. It's easy to teach sleep trainers, and then it's easy for sleep trainers to then teach mums. Yeah. But unfortunately, that's why sleep training has got a bad name, because of those two links. Yeah. Whereas there are ways that you can be a gentle and responsive parent and have a baby that sleeps well, and you never ever have to leave a baby to cry it out to get them to sleep well.
Do you ever get people that come to you having got this kind of bad reputation within the sleep training world that are like terrified that you're going to leave their kids to cry it out?
Every day. Yeah, every day. In fact, I had an email through from a mum just recently, and she'd said that she had needed some help with her baby, and she'd gone to another sleep specialist, and she didn't tell me which one, but she said there was quite a famous one, and they'd been promised a gentle sleep solution, and when she actually bought the course and opened up the course, it was leaving baby to cry out, and it was sold as a gentle solution because you were, and a responsive solution because you were going back in and checking on the baby who was crying in the cot, which isn't a gentle solution to a baby's sleep. In fact, in my programme, you're not even getting to cot settling when you're staying in the room until module 4, stage 5. So like you're way into the programme by the time you get to that point. And I put this on Instagram as a post, basically saying about this mum, and it was the most popular Instagram post that I've ever had. I had 197 comments in 48 hours. Wow. And all of the comments were from parents that had experienced the same thing. Yeah. In fact, 1 or 2 of the parents on there had actually bought a sleep training course to become a sleep trainer, and the course had taught them to teach controlled crying and say it was a gentle technique because you were being responsive by going back in the room. Yeah. So I think that unfortunately, it's just become the norm. When I started helping babies around sleeping well back in around 2008, there really wasn't any such thing as a sleep specialist. And so people didn't know what it was. And so I spent the first kind of 15 years of my career teaching people that there is a solution and how to do that. And I wasn't really learning off of anybody else. I just learned from experience of being a nanny and a nurse and a nutritional therapist. And then unfortunately in the last 4, 5, 6 years especially, there's just been so many people pop up out of the woodwork. And a lot of them unfortunately are mums that have had babies that don't sleep well, that have then decided to do a weekend course and then to call themselves a sleep specialist. And the only thing that you can learn is controlled crying in a very short course like that.
Yeah. This podcast is proudly sponsored by Cover My Bubble. Emma and Chris lost their baby girl Lily Beth at 1 month old and faced financial struggles on top of their grief due to not having life insurance. Now they help others by offering insurance for parents, children and bumps, covering critical illness to income protection. Visit covermybubble.co.uk to cover your bubble. Thing is, if you're desperate, which quite often you are when you get to that stage in your parenthood journey, when you've got a child that's waking up, 5, 6, 7, 8 times a night, you're desperate. So you will go to anyone. And quite often if the prices are cheaper as well, if you're not in a good financial situation, you will go for someone who is saying, I'm offering gentle sleep services. I sleep trained my first because I was desperate. She wouldn't sleep. I was so tired. So I got a sleep specialist and sleep trained her, and we did cry it out, and I absolutely hated every minute of it. I did it for one night and I was like, no, I'm done now. I'm done. You can just not sleep. It's fine. Yeah. And even now I still contact to put her to sleep. So I cuddle her until she's asleep. Yeah. But because she now sleeps through, I'm happy to still do that. And actually I quite like it. But I never did anything with my son because I was too scared that that's what I was going to be offered.
Yeah, I think my biggest job right now, and I've just come off of a free workshop for 2,000 parents, and I put this on 3 times a year in January, May and September. And my main kind of aim for that workshop now isn't kind of telling people that sleep training is possible. It's not even teaching different sleep training programs. It's simply to gain the trust of the parents that are on there and to show them that there is gentle ways of helping a baby sleep well, that you don't need to leave a baby to cry out, that you can take smaller steps. I kind of liken it to, you want to get from the first floor to the ground floor. You can jump out the window or you can take the stairs. And my sleep training program is 13 steps to get from where you are now, whether that is feeding or rocking or bouncing with your baby, to getting to the point where you're putting them in the cot and walking out the room. So it is getting to the end result of self-settling or sleeping independently, but you're taking 13 steps to get there rather than jumping out the window.
Yeah. I'd much rather go down the stairs, thank you very much. But you're going to give us some actual practical advice and visual advice today on helping your baby get to sleep from a younger age, because that's also the age that I find that a lot of people really struggle with. And I know myself and my friends, we all co-slept, and you're going to try and show us ways that we can kind of get babies to sleep independently, aren't you?
Yeah, I think the biggest kind of shift in how I've worked in the last few years has been helping parents right from the beginning of their journey into parenthood. When I first started working with families, it was always kind of from 4 to 6 months. I'd get a lot of people contacting me, and then again from 10 to 12 months because parents are going back to work, and so it was all kind of addressing issues in sleep training. So kind of like there's already a problem and this is how you fix it. Yeah. Whereas over the years, because I'm now working with families that have got their second baby, third baby, and they come back to me. In fact, I had one mum that emailed me and said, Hannah, are you still working? Because we're trying to decide whether to have another baby or not, and we'll only have another baby if we can work with you. and I have so many parents that contacted me now and say, I do not want to get into the situation. I cannot be that sleep deprived mess anymore. I want to enjoy my maternity leave. I can't imagine doing this when I've got a toddler as well. So all of these questions. And can you work from the very beginning? And yeah, absolutely I can. When I worked nannying for families, the babies needed to be ready to travel around the world and sleep in hotel rooms when they were a month old. When I had my own, I didn't have any maternity leave with them, and I was running my business, so they had to sleep independently and go down. So, and I was like, yeah, they absolutely can. Any age baby can learn to sleep well and independently. So now I do a lot of kind of preactive kind of sleep training. It's not even that; it's getting into good habits from the very beginning. And I have a course that's aimed at new parents, which kind of describes how to implement the habits that you want from day one. So people want to be proactive, and you kind of asking those questions from the beginning. So there are so many parents that are happily contact napping, co-sleeping, feeding to sleep, and that's what they aim for as a parent, which is fine. I have another group of parents that come to me at 3 months old or 4 months old that have been out and bought the Moses basket, bought the Next to Me cot, and baby's never used it because they haven't.
That was me.
and it's those parents that I'm saying from the very beginning to ask those questions. Where do you want baby to sleep when they arrive? And if you want them to sleep in the cot, then rather than, I'm going to be demonstrating this in a minute with the baby, where's Charlie, named by my 9-year-old. If you want your baby to be able to lie on their back in their cot, for example, then don't get into the habit of having them on their chest, on their tummy, because that's much harder. And thinking about these things from the beginning means you can encourage those habits from the start. But there's also things which, again, I'll demonstrate that you can do no matter what age your baby. And it's all like the kind of the the fundamentals of my approach is my calm approach to baby sleep and my 3 C's. And my 3 C's stands for calm, consistent and confident. And if you're through those 3 things with your baby, then your baby's going to pick up on that and they're going to be much calmer and everything's going to be a lot easier for you. So they're the kind of things that I wanted to demonstrate today.
Amazing. Well, should we get little Charlie over then and you can show us some of your things?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So we've got Charlie here then. It's a very, very real, creepy looking baby. He's got eyelashes and everything. So you're going to demonstrate some bits for us. So yeah, go ahead.
So a lot of the time when you've got a baby that's upset, not sleeping, you're stressed, you're anxious. And of course, as a parent, you want to do everything you can to help your baby and stop them from crying, from being stressed. And so what you do is you fall into the try everything approach and you kind of try a little bit over the thing and then you're kind of doing a little bit of a rocking and then you're maybe standing up and walking around and then you've got them on your arm and then you're kind of like bouncing and then you put them on your knee and you're swapping and changing the whole time. Yeah. And the 3 things that your baby needs from you when they're upset and they're feeling anxious and they're feeling stressed is for you to be calm, confident and consistent. So choose one thing. So that could be holding your baby and just be really calm, rocking backwards and forwards, because that's going to reassure them. The trying everything is you trying to escalate to find the thing that your baby wants. But your baby doesn't know what they want when they're in that situation. And if you're consistent and you're calm with one thing, then they will grow to like that thing because they find reassurance in things that they're familiar with and they find reassurance in you being calm. So even if you're feeling really stressed, focused on your breathing, if you're breathing in for 5, holding for 5, and then breathing out for 5, that really slows down your autonomic nervous system, which then means you're calmer. And if you're calmer, then your baby will be calmer as well. So just literally sitting with them. If you're doing a shush, you're not shh, 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 shh. You're like more kind of shh, shh. So that you're showing your baby that everything's okay. In fact, I had a mum today on the phone that I was talking to. And I've just started one-to-one with her. And I did a session yesterday, which is all about what's happening with her baby and no advice at all, no starting points at all. Then today we were making the changes and her baby's been not settling, not going to sleep. And she said, Hannah, I don't know what miracle work you are, but last night baby went to sleep, no problem at all. I didn't even need to do anything. Only woke up once overnight for feed and settled for nap today. What have you done? Like, have you waved some kind of wand? I said, it'll just be because you're relaxed. You're like, I'm not going to worry about this. I'm talking to Hannah later. And so what will be, and your baby's just picked up on how relaxed you are. Another brilliant example of this is when I'm working one-to-one with families and the parents are trying to get the baby to go to sleep and they phone me up and I can hear the baby screaming in the background and I'm like, what's going on? And like, I don't know, they're really stressed and they're not stopped crying. And I'm like, just take your voice down just a little bit and just explain to me in a really calm voice. I said, well, I came into the room at 7:18 and they were definitely tired. And immediately the baby stops crying. And I'm like, what are they doing now? They're like, oh, they stopped. I'm like, yeah, that's good. And then as soon as they stopped talking, the baby starts crying again. I'm like, carry on talking to me. It can be about anything. Recite a nursery rhyme, whatever. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to be all right now. And I said, just repeat after me. Everything's fine and baby's going to go to sleep. And they do that. And then 2 minutes later, I've got a text saying, Hannah, they've gone to sleep. And it really is the case that the calmer you are and the more consistent you are with what you're doing. That's why often babies go to sleep when you're chatting to someone just like we are now. Because you're not like, come on, go to sleep. Go on, baby, I need you to sleep. And the more you need them to sleep, the less likely they will be. So the more calm you can be. Secondly, and kind of almost most importantly in smaller babies like we were talking about earlier, when you're holding a baby, try to avoid as much as possible holding them like this. This is how everybody holds a small baby. Because if your baby goes to sleep on your chest, on their tummy all the time, then that's promoting and them needing tummy sleeping. And of course it's not safe. The back-to-back campaign where you're putting babies on their backs in their cost has saved over 80% of sudden infant death syndrome since the 1980s. So it's a huge, important campaign which has changed the lives of many, many families. But if you always hold your baby on their tummy to go to sleep like this, then they're going to find it impossible to go into their cot on their back. They're going to feel like an upturned beetle when they go into their cot, and that's why they wave their arms around and they wake up. So when you're holding your baby and your newborn baby, hold them like I showed you. You can still have the cuddles, you can still have the contact naps. It's not about always going into their cot, but when you're holding them, hold them like this. Or if you're laying down on the bed, you can hold them on their tummy, or you can have them in your knees on your thing, or... And this has got a pillowcase on it because my babies are too old and I haven't got any. This is what I wanted to bring it. Bring the Moses basket mattress out and put them on the Moses basket mattress. You can get them to sleep like this, and then you can put that straight into the Moses basket, and they're much less likely to more likely to stay asleep and less likely to wake up. Yeah. So
even now, my son won't go on his back. Like, we have swimming lessons, and part of it, I'm supposed to lay him with his head on my shoulder so that he's on his back kicking. He will not do it because I had him on his tummy on me for the whole of his babyhood. And it's very common. I have got a lot of parents say to me, especially with babies with reflux that have had any problems. I've got 3 children and my 2 youngest had reflux and cow's milk protein allergy, and of course the advice is to hold them upright after feeds, and so you feed them and then you hold them upright after the feed, and then they fall asleep upright. What I do with babies, you feed them and then you wind them upright on your thing. It's a wait time. You put them in a baby bouncer, you have a wait time, and once the milk's gone down, then you can get them to sleep lying down on their back. Yeah? That's a good idea, yeah.
So it's just... I think that once you understand, and whenever I say to people, they're like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
It does. It does now. Where were you 3 years ago? Come on.
And it's just realising that often with babies, taking that small step back, because when you're in the middle of that crisis point, and you've got your baby and they're crying, they're screaming, you just want to do anything you can to help them. And on top of that, natural psychology, human psychology, when somebody is finding any emotion, then you try to mimic it. So if you were saying to me that you were really upset about something, then I'd be like, oh no, I know, I understand. If you're like stressed, and I'm like, no, that's really bad. So you mimic the other person's emotions and their body language to do with their emotions. But with babies, you want to do completely the opposite. Because if when they're stressed, you're like, come on, let's go to then all they're going to think, oh my goodness, mummy's stressed. And then they don't find that the same as what an adult would do. And similarly, if when they're crying and they're upset, you're like, oh, I know, then they're going to think, oh my goodness, mummy's upset as well. And even small babies, it makes a world of difference. Take that step back. I know that you're okay. Everything's fine. You're going to be okay. Come on, mummy's here. And just take that step back.
I could just imagine myself being like, everything's okay. Like saying it, but looking like, no.
Exactly. And that is the key.
I'm not losing the plot, I promise.
No, exactly. And so if you feel like that, look in the mirror. Yeah? Because it's so different. And take things down to doing them almost like you feel like you're doing them in slow motion. Because in that response, everything's so fast. Your stress response, you've got the cortisol going around. It's that fight or flight response. You've got to bring that autonomic nervous system back down. So do things in half the time. Take those deep breaths. Think about something else if you possibly can. Put some music on that this is another thing that parents often come to me. I'm like, are you playing music or what? Yeah, I'm playing white noise, but I bloody hate it. I'm like, that is not going to make you relax. Put something on that you like.
We had The Greatest Showman for my daughter. We played it to her in my belly, and then when she came out, it was all she would settle to.
Wow,
so
brilliant.
I quite liked it. So it wasn't some of this crappy white noise or a rubbish nursery rhyme. It was good.
Twinkle, twinkle.
Oh God, no. And then there's that. Have you seen those baby sensory videos on YouTube where the balls like bounce around?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, I swear I've got PTSD from that. I've watched it about 1 million times.
Oh really?
And now whenever I hear anyone play it, I'm like, oh God.
No, the most important thing is that you're relaxed and you're calm for your baby.
Yeah, I love that. Is there anything else you want to show us with little Charlie here, or should we move on to spin the wheel?
Let's do spin the wheel.
Amazing, let's do it. Okay, here is the wheel. Do you remember what you got last time?
No, I've done it twice and I can't remember. But I remembered that I was quite pleased with them both times. So hopefully I don't get a bad one this time.
You're due a rank bank, I reckon. Right, go on then, give it a good spin. Oh, that was close.
That was really close.
Would you rather never do housework again or have children that sleep? And you're
I will definitely never do housework again.
That has children that sleep because you know how to get them to sleep.
Yeah, I can resolve the second one, so I'll never do housework again, please.
Yeah, see, I can't resolve this. I don't know, actually. I've always said I quite like housework.
I think you had that before of have children that sleep 12 hours every night, wasn't it, originally?
Yeah.
But no, I always chose the housework one.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't work with my life having children that slept 12 hours every night. It would be really restrictive. I mean, what would you do at a festival? Put them in the tent while you go and have fun?
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought about that. That's what I was thinking about when I read it before.
I'm not brave enough to take my kids to festivals and stuff like that.
We took Henry to a festival when he was 2 months old.
What?
No, actually, he was younger than that. He was born in June. Yeah, no, he was 6 weeks old.
How do you do that?
Well, we had a big bell tent and he had a travel cot in the bell tent.
Oh, really?
And we had a festival trolley which he had a mattress in and he slept in.
I just think I'm a wimp when it comes to like bedtime routines. Like I remember when mine were young, we were invited to a big birthday party. It was like a 60th or something. And it would have meant that I kept my two up till late. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't go. And they got the right ump with me for not going and blaming it on the children's routines. And they were like, you can take them out of routine for one night. And I was like, no, I can't. I really can't.
I think that once you've got children that sleep well, then you relax more.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of the things that I said in the workshop actually recently.
Yeah.
I had a bloke called Dave, I don't know who he was, on there. But I was doing the presentation, so I couldn't see what was going on behind the scenes. And my husband who works with me, was monitoring the chat. And when I said about taking my kids to festivals, and now that they're 16, 9 and 12, it's their favourite place to go. We do 3 or 4 festivals a year and they've just grown up with it and they love it. And I was the same. I went to my first festival when I was 6 months old with my family, so it's something I've always done.
Yeah.
And he said, you shouldn't take children to festivals, it's cruel. And then he was saying something else about this is controlled crying, and all of the mums in the group were saying stuff like, did Dave get out of bed the wrong side this morning?
Dave needs a sleep specialist to help him sleep.
Dave needs to go. In the end, Dale did kick him out. But I think that what I was saying was, and what my point was on this particular slide, is a lot of parents avoid sleep training because they feel that it's going to be restrictive, that they're going to be sticking to awake windows, that they're going to have to be at home for all of the naps, that they're going to have to be doing this long drawn out bedtime routine. But actually what I teach is having a baby that sleeps independently and sleeps well, then you throw away all of the need for those awake windows and the long drawn out bedtime routine, and baby will sleep anywhere, and that's in a restaurant or at a wedding in the evening, or in a festival trolley at the back of a festival. So
I love that. My son actually the other day, this has never ever happened before, he fell asleep at school. So he apparently just said to his key worker, I'm tired, I'm going to go lay down. He just took himself to the reading corner, tucked himself in and just went to sleep. And I was like, okay, can you do that at home now, please? Yeah. Like, can you come and put yourself to bed? But he's never done that before. So I don't know if he's like learned when I feel tired, if I put myself to sleep, it will make me feel better.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's what the beauty is of when children and babies can sleep, is that when they're tired they can regulate their own sleep needs, they can regulate when they need to go to sleep when they're tired. And it's always on week 2 or week 3 of sleep club, we have Zoom drop-in clinics every week. Week 2 or week 3 of sleep club, there's always without doubt 2 or 3 storage of mums coming in. They're like, oh my god, Hannah, I went out the room and baby fell asleep on the playmat. Or I put in a post into my community on Facebook and I said, can everybody, because I wanted to prove that babies can sleep anywhere once they can learn to sleep, and I said, can you please post any photographs that you've got of your babies sleeping anywhere apart from in a cot. Oh my god, some of the photos hilarious. In a trolley in a supermarket, had one on a blow up unicorn on a balcony on holiday.
That was me at Butlins at the weekend. Christ.
So there was so many different photos. It was brilliant. And that is what I love most about the work that I do, that it gives parents flexibility, and it means that you can do the things that you enjoy doing with your baby.
Well, as kids, like I remember going to weddings and just crawling under a table and just going to sleep, but I feel like I've just not brought that side into my children, and they don't fall asleep anywhere other than their beds, really. So
my parents owned a folk and Cayley band when I was younger, and I vividly remember having a sleeping bag across 3 plastic chairs when I was, and like literally being at the back of the Kaylee and sleeping when I was younger.
Yeah, I love that. We need more of that in like this generation. So
I think people are just so anxious these days, aren't they? I think I worked for a charity called Home Start, and their work has always been kind of trying to help families with practical things when they're struggling. But they said more and more in the last few years, it's been trying to help with the anxiety that parenting brings, because there's just too much information out there, and parents think that they're doing the wrong thing all the time, and so anything that can reduce anxiety and help parents enjoy and relax and be more calm around their babies is only a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. Right, so you're a pro. You've looked after lots of children in your life.
I'm going to be really disappointed if I don't win.
You need to beat you need to get to the top of the leaderboard on Stroller Speedway.
I do. I'm just a bit worried about the Speedway bit. The nappy change I don't mind, but I don't know what I've got to do. You haven't even told me yet. Yeah,
we'll head over and I'll tell you. So here we are at Stroller Speedway. So it is a Top Gear style lap, but for parents. So we've got 2 people have done it so far. So you've got 1 minute 40 to beat. I have high hopes for you. So the situation is you've just gone out in your pram for a walk and she's done a poo. Always the way. So you need to take her out of the pushchair, change her nappy, get her as clean as you'd like your child to be, put a nappy back on, do up her vest, make sure her hat stays on, put her back in the pushchair, slalom that way, park her up, touch me on the shoulder. Okay. Done. Okay. What do you reckon? Okay, I'll give it a go. Yeah. How do you feel? Are you going to be top of the leaderboard?
I would hope so, but I'm not going to make any promises. We'll celebrate at the end.
Okay, so I'll give you a countdown. I'll do 3, 2, 1, and then you're good to go. Okay. Are you ready? Yep. All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Right. Straight in there. Is it a punami? How's it looking? She's been kind to you? Oh, she's not been kind to you. It's everywhere. The silence, the concentration.
Oh my God, it doesn't come out the crack.
Just like a real baby. You're lucky it's not a boy and it's not just peeing in your face right now. Oh, it's good. She's doing good. 30 seconds have passed. She's doing well. I reckon we've got a new top of the leaderboard. No pressure. Oh, the vest is going on.
Her legs are all over the place.
What's her leg doing up there?
What?
Okay, slaloming. Oh, she's run over the dirty nappy. Round. Way! Oh, can you take a guess on your time?
No idea.
What do you reckon?
I don't know, but there's poo nappy everywhere.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that at home, do you? 59 seconds!
Yes!
We have a new top of the leaderboard. It had to be you that topped the leaderboard though, didn't it? So, 0.59. That is going to be a tough one to beat. Good job. Let's move these guys out of the way. Move them down. You can go at the very top. How do you feel?
Yeah, I don't often win things like that.
You took that seriously.
I don't think I've ever won a race in my life.
Ta-da! How was that then? You happy?
Yep.
Yeah. Amazing. Well done.
Thank you.
Right, should we head back over?
Yep.
So, how was that? Have you got your breath back?
I have. I'm very proud of myself. I don't think I've ever won a race in my life.
Oh, there you go. You have now. You are top of the leaderboard with a very, very respectable 59 seconds. I don't know how anyone's going to beat that, to be honest.
Well, we'll have to see, won't we?
Yeah,
it's quite promising.
Yeah. And you'll have to come back again and see if you can beat your own time as well.
Definitely. If anybody beats me, you get me straight back in the studio.
I'll tell you. But thank you so much for coming on today and giving so many practical tips as well. I know that I 100% wish I had those tips back when I had my kids, so they're going to help so many people.
Oh, no, thank you for having me back, and no, it's lovely to talk to you again.
It's amazing. I'll definitely have you back, so keep coming back. We'll get you back on there again. Do you want to tell everyone where we can find you online and your book and your workshops and everything?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a book called The Calm Approach to Baby Sleep, which is available on Amazon. You can see me on Instagram at Sleep Well with Hannah. It's got an underscore in between each of the each of the words, or I've got a community on Facebook, which is Sleep Well with Hannah Parenting Community, or everything is on my website, which is sleepwellwithhannah.com.
Amazing. Thank you again for coming back on. It was lovely talking to you. And thank you to everybody for watching and for listening at home. Please do download, subscribe and all the other things. And I'll see you next week.